Welcome to Voyage Daily Tech, the most important news personalized for you every day, supported by Voyage.com.
We've got 5 fascinating tech stories lined up for you today. First, we'll explore a shocking deal where OpenAI is renting AI chips from its biggest rival, Google. Then we'll dive into why Reddit is suing the AI startup Anthropic for stealing your conversations. After that, we'll look at the race between financial giants Visa and Mastercard to disrupt themselves by creating their own crypto tokens. And that's not all. A $14 billion tech deal was just revived, but with some major concessions we need to unpack. We'll wrap things up with President Trump terminating all trade talks with Canada over a new digital services tax. A lot to get to, so let's jump in. The story begins with a decision that caught everyone by surprise. 2 of the biggest rivals in the AI race, OpenAI and Google, have just made a deal that's sending shockwaves through the tech world. OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, has started renting artificial intelligence chips directly from Google. This is a seismic shift. For years, OpenAI has been one of the largest buyers of Nvidia's dominant GPUs, relying almost exclusively on its primary backer, Microsoft, for computing power. So, the thing is, in a bid to slash the astronomical costs of running its AI, it's now turning to its main competitor. For Google, this is a massive strategic victory. The company is aggressively pushing its in-house tensor processing units, or TPUs, as a viable and cheaper alternative to Nvidia's expensive hardware. Historically, these chips were reserved for Google's internal use. But now, by securing a client as massive as OpenAI, Google is sending a powerful message to the entire industry. It's already won over other key players like Apple and even Anthropic, another major AI competitor founded by former OpenAI leaders. This is where the situation takes a more complex turn. According to a Google Cloud employee, the company is playing chess, not checkers. Google is reportedly not renting its most powerful, state-of-the-art TPUs to its rival. It's keeping the best technology for itself. This deal reveals the high-stakes game being played at the top. OpenAI is so eager to find an alternative to Nvidia and reduce its dependency on Microsoft that it's willing to fund its chief competitor. Meanwhile, Google is executing a brilliant power play. Get your rivals hooked on your ecosystem, but never give them the tools to actually beat you. This isn't just a business deal, it's a calculated move in the war for AI supremacy. Speaking of the high-stakes war for AI supremacy, another battle is brewing over the very data that fuels these models. Reddit is suing one of the biggest names in AI, Anthropic, for allegedly stealing its most valuable asset, your conversations. The social media giant, which has over 108 million daily users, claims the AI startup illegally scraped its forums to train its Claude chatbot. Reddit's argument is simple, and CEO Steve Huffman put it bluntly. Commercial use requires commercial terms. When you use something in business, you pay for it. The situation presents a fascinating duality. On one side, Reddit is fighting AI with lawsuits, while on the other, it's fighting AI with AI. The company just launched its own service called Reddit Answers, an AI-powered tool trained exclusively on its own user discussions. And it's not just a concept over 1 million people are already using it every week. Reddit is betting that the annotated sterile answers from AI can't compete with the raw, authentic human experience found in its communities. This all boils down to one massive conflict. You see, legal experts say Reddit's vast library of moderated human conversations is a goldmine for training AI to sound more natural. It's what makes chatbots less like a textbook and more like a person. While Reddit has data licensing deals with Google and OpenAI, it alleges Anthropic has been siphoning this data without permission. Anthropic denies the claims and says it will defend itself vigorously. This lawsuit isn't just about one company. It's a fight over who owns the internet's conversations and who gets to profit from them. From a fight over the value of online conversations, we now turn to a battle over the future of money itself. And it all starts with a single jaw-dropping number, $187 billion. That's the record-shattering amount merchants paid in processing fees last year. And it's the core reason why the 2 companies that basically run your wallet, Visa and Mastercard, are now in a headlong race to disrupt themselves by building their own crypto tokens. This isn't about Bitcoin. This is a battle over the future of money. Stablecoins threaten to make those fees disappear. So instead of getting run over, the giants are getting on board. As one venture capitalist put it, Visa and Mastercard are leaning into the disruption. They're trying to disrupt themselves, so they seem to be ahead of the curve. And they're not alone. JP Morgan just launched its own token, JPMD, for around-the-clock institutional settlements. The e-commerce giant Shopify is now enabling USDC payments through a deal with Coinbase. And the company behind that token, Circle, saw its stock soar as much as 750% in a single month after its public debut. However, if you zoom out, you'll see the real end game here, according to a PayPal executive. The goal is for you to not even know you're using a stablecoin. It's meant to become an invisible infrastructure layer that simply moves value faster and cheaper. This corporate gold rush is being supercharged by a new bill in Washington with bipartisan support designed to create rules for this booming industry, but it's not without controversy. Lawmakers are raising red flags about potential conflicts of interest, pointing to the recent launch of a stablecoin tied to Donald Trump through a firm run by his family. The game is changing and the biggest names in finance are placing their bets. The only question now is, who will own the new rails of the global economy? We were just talking about giants placing their bets on the future. Well, speaking of high-stakes corporate strategy, a $14 billion tech deal that was on the brink of collapse just got a stunning last-minute revival. Hewlett Packard Enterprise, or HPE, was trying to buy Juniper Networks for a staggering $14 billion. But the US Department of Justice stepped in to block it, dropping a bombshell allegation. The deal would give HPE and its rival Cisco control of over 70% of the entire US networking market. A massive trial was scheduled and the industry was bracing for a legal war, but just days before it was set to begin, a settlement was quietly filed. The deal is back on. So, what was the price of peace? Well, HPE didn't walk away clean. To get the green light, the company has to sell off its entire instant-on wireless business. But that's not the whole picture. HPE must also license the source code for Juniper's crown jewel AI software, known as Mist AI. This technology was a key reason HPE wanted Juniper in the first place to supercharge its artificial intelligence offerings and take the fight directly to its main competitor, Cisco. This all begs the question, who really won here? HPE gets its $14 billion prize but had to give up key pieces to get it. The DOJ claims a victory for competition, forcing a tech giant to make concessions, and all the while the market leader Cisco is watching as its primary challenger gets bigger, but is also forced to share its newly acquired AI secrets. The battle for network dominance just entered a wild new chapter. That battle for network dominance involved a major intervention from the US government, and that's actually a perfect segue to our final story. In a much more dramatic move, US President Donald Trump just blew up trade talks with Canada, declaring on social media, "We are hereby terminating all discussions on trade with Canada, effective immediately." The trigger for this diplomatic explosion? A new 3% digital services tax from Canada aimed squarely at American tech giants like Amazon, Apple, and Google. While 3% may not sound like much, business groups estimate it will cost these companies over $2 billion a year. The retaliation was swift and absolute. Trump isn't just walking away from the table, he's threatening to announce brand new tariffs on Canadian goods within the next 7 days. This move completely obliterates a mid-July deadline the two nations had set for a trade deal just weeks earlier. The core conflict was laid bare when President Trump told reporters the US has all the cards, before adding this direct warning, "Economically, we have such power over Canada, I'd rather not use it." This high-stakes maneuver puts a staggering $400 billion trade relationship on the brink. The US is Canada's top trading partner, and that entire economic engine is now facing a massive shakedown. While some insiders dismiss this as a classic negotiating tactic from Trump's playbook to gain leverage, the pressure is real. Canadian business leaders are already calling on their own government to scrap the controversial tax just to get the negotiations back on track. What started as a dispute over a tech tax has now escalated into a direct economic threat between two of the world's closest allies. The deadline for a deal is dead. The only question now is whether a full-blown trade war is about to begin.
That's it for today on Voyage Daily Tech. Follow, share, and stay tuned for daily updates coming your way tomorrow.